Traders are coming. Come on.
So the Wind Traders was an evolution. There's going to be this culture, this society that flies around in these big living balloons. All right, what's that look like? So the designers started drawing all kinds of shapes.
First and foremost, we started with what is this creature, what is this gondola? And so it had to kind of exist as a unit. You kind of can't really design them separately because the attachment points for the gondola depend greatly on the creature. And so we were trying to design those in tandem.
The Medusoid is basically a giant jellyfish man-o'-war that meets a blimp. So the Wind Traders sort of use it as their mode of transportation. They latch onto it with their airships. And a lot of my work on it was figuring out more of the details. They get pulled along by this other creature called the Wind Ray, which is sort of like a tugboat. Sort of the navigator for the Medusoids. It's filled with gas, basically, so it sort of levitates.
Even though it's the little beast that's towing the Medusoid, it is still a gigantic creature in its own right. I think it's, I don't know, 60, 70 feet long.
It's kind of strange to conceive. It's a flying cuttlefish, and how do you make it feel like it's able to pull this giant ship and this blimp behind it in the form of the Medusoid?
I wanted a kind of a tall ship metaphor. So we had to come up with an entire system that looked visually plausible, but yet was utterly Pandoran and something that the Na'vi could have created for themselves.
The gondola went through many, many iterations.
Drop down here.
It was a challenge to figure out from an action standpoint because the script was very much written almost as if it was on like a pirate ship.
Ready about!
Very much a deck, and there's rigging and that sort of thing. But these are Na'vi, so how can we make it multi-dimensional? How can we have them climbing, scrambling, swinging, not just let it be a flat deck?
The decks are woven, the contours of the hull, they're all woven because they want to do it in a way where they're not cutting down trees and sawing them up to make lumber and hammer it together the way human beings would do. That would be an atrocity to kill a tree. But they're using plant fiber that the plant could dispose of. So there was a logic that went into the design.
It was such an integrated design that had to serve so many functions. It's a vehicle, it's a set, it's a village at the same time, and it needed to exist both inside and out. We go above and below decks very fluidly.
We ultimately built that ship from end to end as a performance capture set, and we had our troop players running all over, climbing up the rat lines, hauling in ropes.
And race! Fall to windward!
That filled the entire stage. That was the main deck, and we had all those ropes and rigging points there.
The culture is based on weaving. We had to create the gondola. That took a long time. And then Deborah Scott was proposing that because they're flying culture, they might wind up having to go over mountain ranges. They might get up into fairly high altitudes where it's quite cold. So they'd have cloaks. They wouldn't be running around in a loincloth.
Jim was really clear in the writing of the Wind Traders that they are nomads, that they travel around up in the air.
Clear ahead.
It's cold up there, so they weave with their hands. They make their own clothing. They also travel, and they buy, they sell. I always refer to them as being the happy circus that comes to town. They're colorful. So I really deep dived into this jewel tone, intense colors, colors of the perhaps sky at night, in the morning. So it's the combination. They climb. They're very active, a very active population. Their hair design was mostly braids, but very close to the head because of the wind. Again, you're not gonna go all the way up there and have your hair blow in your face when you're trying to work.
Very well. I meet you on this.
I wanted to give the audience that feeling that I'm a kid going on an adventure.
Come on.
I'm joining the pirates.
Cast off below!
And so when you see that look on Spider's face when he's looking up, you're suddenly transported into an adventure.
This is Big Arms, Big Tribe.
Simon Franklin's task was to create that sense of majesty and excitement. We're leaving, people are doing things, we're casting off, we're setting sail. So I wanted a sense of energy that then turned into the majesty. He came up with a great theme for the Wind Traders.
They have a 250-meter high ship that are these amazing things that fly. The scale of it is astonishing. I mean, it's Avatar, so what am I going to do? I'm going to write an enormous, huge theme. As Jim said, this is the last time we know that everything's okay. The sails come out, it's glorious, we're sailing off into the sunshine.
I think it's one of the best cues in the film. It's beautiful, it's majestic, it's transportive. It's all the things you want in an Avatar theme. Korra goes to the Ash Village, and he winds up getting taken inside.
What are you doing, boss?
And Varang is doing this little sort of magic trick with flames on her fingertips.
I am the fire.
Point is, flame wasn't there. There was no fire on Una's fingertips. She had to create that in her mind. So she's in a capture suit. She's squatted down. She's moving in this very kind of serpentine way around the environment. She's taking bits of powders and throwing them in the fire. There's no fire. And there's flare up from the flash powder. Her movements are so precise that when we actually added the fire to the scene, it all worked perfectly.
This is the only pure thing in this world.
Una's a very prepared actor. She's a very technical actor, but she also has the ability to set that technical rod of training aside and just let something come through her that's quite primal and quite dark.
Coming in with so much energy and vibe, it took a lot of building myself up to be able to match the size of what Jim had envisioned. So it was really fun, it was really challenging.
Stephen Lang, also a very prepared actor who builds upon a performance in an iterative way. When he finds something that I like or that he likes, he'll keep that, and then he'll add to it, and he'll go farther and farther. He and Una really hit it off very quickly, and they had a great rhythm.
That's some strong shit.
If you watch the way Varang moves, there's a sinuous quality to it that's very dangerous. She's like a coiled whip.
No fear.
Ow.
One of the key pieces of the psychology of Varang is that she has really unhealthy power dynamics. And so that also expresses in her sexuality. It's very instinctual.
Interesting thing is they're both so smart. He senses, I can use her. And she senses, I can use him. It's kind of a deal. But what you'll see is there's kind of emotion that becomes involved.
She does not mind commanding the space. It was really empowering. You just have to commit. It's the fullest and most immersive acting experience that I've ever had.
The fire came from the mountain when I was little.
Stephen Lang had to play like he was stoned out of his mind, but he had to modulate that very carefully across the scene from being almost just a deer in the headlights confronting this awesome, almost goddess-like figure that's overwhelming all his senses through this hallucinogen. Somehow he has been controlling and shaping the outcome the entire time. Stephen Lang played it absolutely beautifully.
I'm here for you.
You wish to serve me?
I don't serve anybody.
We go into the scene saying, wait a minute, the second you went inside there, you lost your Overwatch sniper. You now have no power over what happens next. She's very, very threatening. She even says she's gonna eat his heart. She's gonna kill him. He's not coming out of that place alive.
That sounds like a fun weekend, but that's not what you really want.
What do I want?
And he slowly turns it around. He says, I can give you what you've never had.
An equal.
And she just stares at him. Now, I don't know if that was just her subconscious reaction, but you get it in her face. One tiny gesture, and he's got her.
You want to take on Awa? You need me.
And then he just starts to reel her in.
I see you.
She's saying, all right, let's do this. And when he says,
Damn right you do.
okay, he had this all planned. I love the shift of the power dynamic. It was such a joy to watch the CG artist bringing her character to life in the full makeup and regalia.
One of the things I realized very quickly with Una on set was her ability to commit. She lives it.
Good trick.
Hopefully the character is a credit to her performance.
Courage.
If there's anything in movie theater I'm really proud of, it's her character. The design of the character is beautiful.
It's really our role to troll through that performance and look at every little detail we can and try and translate that for the big screen.
There's that sort of lithe and sinewy way that she moves, sort of this coiled cat-like quality to her. Even though it's often slow, there's a menace.
It is like they took my essence and put it in this dress of Varang. It is absolutely, it's like my voice, my movements, my mouth, and my eyes, even though the eyes look different. It is 100% very, very weird because it's me, completely.
You will kill no one.
Lady, I'm gonna beg to differ. Drop him.
Jim already had a very strong idea in his head about how those people looked. He was very much into the idea of the body paint being their biggest form of expression. The only rule they still follow is they make their clothes themselves. Is it in a much more rudimentary fashion? Absolutely. Do they use things from their environment? 100%. They use metal, they use stone on stone. One of the things that Jim really wanted to show very seriously was that they are a clan of people who don't mind pain. They're heavily scarred, they have piercings. Just because you're evil doesn't mean you aren't spectacular.
It's really easy to see them as simplistic. They're not like these primitive cavemen. They are intelligent and they are fine craftspeople. They just have a different focus. And so their architecture still had to be impressive. We had to kind of come up with this freestanding language that felt Na'vi but was unique to them, embracing white painted hides and different furs and coarser weaves. And they're using actual bent, burnt pieces of wood too, and leather straps instead of flax.
You remember me, don't you?
As one of 2 production designers on Avatar 3, I work on the death machines that burn and otherwise destroy, all the nice stuff on Pandora. Dylan concentrates on the natural Pandoran side of things, but in Avatar 3, things have blended a lot.
It's Simon Franklin's job to honor the motifs of Avatar, but also to find and explore new themes. And he's a very thematic composer, and I like thematic scores. Simon did something completely non-thematic for the hallucination scene. Just string slides and all sorts of things that expressed the chaos that was going on in Quaritch's mind.
Why are you here?
The world is doing like this, the colors are changing, and I had to build a cue that has that sense of a man whose brain is being fried. It's like an orchestra having a drug trip.
It becomes more musically organized as you go forward and you feel the threat from Varang. It has a kind of an epic quality emerge as he starts to paint this picture. I asked him to do the music expressing what she's seeing in her mind based on his word picture. And I think he landed that. Musically, I think it's my favorite moment in the film is when he says, "Damn right you do." I asked him for Gustav Holst's Mars Bringer War. I said, I want that kind of energy. It's this very gestural, slow motion montage.
We have, I hope, the loudest piece of music ever in a cinema. They come in with this kick drum and this pulsing bass. At this point, it's going to hopefully knock people sideways.
You just feel like, okay, the power couple from hell has just consummated their agreement and all hell just broke loose.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. Joblo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.